Let me say just a couple of things before we kick off the video in earnest. Firstly, there will be no video next week or for the rest of this month, as I'm away on a holiday, one which I am really looking forward to. Also, what's happening in the month of August is our house groups at Broughty Ferry Presbyterian Church are kicking off again. So with that in mind, this video was based around that. All the house groups are going to be working through the same book. We will all be looking through Paul's letter to the Philippians. So I thought I'd make a video just to introduce us and to enthuse us and to get us excited about this letter. So please do join and watch along with your cuppa. So Philippi was a port town in southern Greece. It was the site of where the gospel first took root in the continent of Europe. It is where the first church was birthed and blossomed into existence. And this letter was probably written about a decade after the church first began in Philippi. At this stage, probably in the early 60s in the first century, Paul is writing from Rome, the capital of the empire. He's in chains, in captivity, for the sake of the gospel. And here he is writing to this church in and over at Philippi. I'm actually writing my prayer letter to those people who are interested in what Sarah, myself and Tig are up to. It's been a while since I last sent one out. It's helpful for us to think about this letter to the Philippians as one of Paul's letters to his supporters. Towards the end of the letter, in chapter 4, we see that the occasion for him writing to the church in Philippi is that they have supported him financially. Remember, we were saying that he has been in prison in Rome. And so what they have done is they have sent something of their own to him to support him while he's there. We read in Paul's letter to the church in Corinth, his second one to them, he speaks of the church in Macedonia supporting him. That's this church, Philippi, who even when they were poor, they still gave whatever they could to support his work in the gospel. So for us, it's helpful to think of this letter as kind of a prayer letter to his supporters. They're more than just supporters. There's a word that this letter uses to describe their relationship with one another, Paul and the church. Some translations of the Bible is put as fellowship. But I don't know what comes to mind when you think of the word fellowship. Do you think of polystyrene cups and Tesco brand cookies, chatting after the service? What happens if we think of it in terms of partnership? Paul majors on their relationship as being a partnership. That's the big idea of this letter, is that they are in partnership in the gospel with him. They are joined together with him with one big goal in mind. They support him as he goes forth in his mission to declare the gospel across the known world. But maybe the question you have is, what impact does a letter that Paul wrote to a church in Philippi over nearly 2,000 years ago have to do with us? Well, actually, what Paul did was, on the occasion of this financial support he received from them, he took a chance to teach them a little bit about what gospel partnership looks like in a local church. What it looks like with those who sit on the pews next to you, who are part of your house groups. So this is a chance for him to remind them of the cause that they are all in together. There were a few elements of life which were producing friction, and so he wanted to remind them of what unity looks like when we are bound together by the gospel. And so that's why this is so important for us. That's why we are going to be digging into this letter over this coming term to think together, what does it look like to partner together, to be a team who are joined in a goal of living holy lives and spreading the gospel in our community and in our country. I hope that if you are already part of a house group, you're excited to open up this letter. And if you haven't joined one yet, but are interested, we'd love to have you. So please do get in contact with us. And I hope that we'll see you there on Zoom over this coming term.